Let's talk about Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. We're only 2 weeks into the 2025 season. So I don't want to come on here and over-exaggerate this early on in the season and say that they're going to go out there and make this deep playoff push and they're massive Super Bowl contenders. But they look very good to be 2 weeks into the season. And it's more than just a Michael Parsons trade. Let's start off with the offense here. Coach LaFleur has done a phenomenal job. Since they hired him to be the head coach of this organization a few years ago, he came straight out the gate with Aaron Rodgers, one of the best offensive coaches that you can have. And he has done a tremendous job with developing Jordan Love. And this is the Packers blueprint. And they started this many years ago. You get Brett Favre. You go out there, you feel like he's over the hill, you bring in Aaron Rodgers. You let Aaron Rodgers dominate with the Packers. You felt like he was over the hill, you go out there, you bring in Jordan Love, and you let these quarterbacks sit for a year or two behind that veteran. And it has been a great blueprint for the Green Bay Packers. They've had franchise quarterback after franchise quarterback. And in my opinion, Jordan Love looks like a franchise quarterback. The reason why he had a lot of down moments last year was not because he's a bad player. He was dealing with injuries. He had the knee injury early on against the Philadelphia Eagles. That happened in Brazil. So he missed a couple of weeks. They went with Malik Willis. And we got to see Coach LaFleur coach him up to the next level. We've never seen Malik Willis play at a high-end level with the Tennessee Titans. Then Jordan Love comes back. He's dealing with a growing injury. But the year before, his first year as a full starter, they made the NFL playoffs and they blew the doors off the Dallas Cowboys in that playoff game. They were just a couple plays away from defeating the San Francisco 49ers 2 years ago. So you know the talent is there with Jordan Love. He has started this season off with a bang against the Detroit Lions, a tough defense that's being coached up by Kevin Shepard. I know that it's not the same defense without Aaron Glenn, but they still have very good defensive talent on the back end with Brian Branch the same, with Kirby Joseph and Aiden Hutchinson up front. He was 16-22, 188 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. And he rarely got touched in that game by Aiden Hutchinson. He was a non-factor in that matchup. We can come on here and we can critique the defensive play calls by Coach Shepard, but this offensive line has done a tremendous job so far by keeping Jordan Love upright. And tonight against the Washington Commanders, Jordan Love was once again comfortable inside the pocket, 19-31, 292 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. And it's one of those situations to where he doesn't need the run game every single drive to go out there and make plays. We see a lot of young quarterbacks, they need the run game to get into a groove. Jordan Love will go out there and he'll be that gunslinger. Josh Jacobs has been a phenomenal running back. He's in year 2 with the Packers here. He was one of the best running backs in the league last year. We always talk about Derrick Henry, Saquon, and a healthy Christian McCaffrey. Josh Jacobs is still one of the best running backs in football. He's very underrated. Just a few years back, he led the league in rushing with the Las Vegas Raiders. But I look at it from the standpoint, there are so many weapons on the offensive end for the Packers when they're fully healthy that it's hard to go out there and play traditional defense. It is weapon by committee. Christian Watson is still out right now recovering from that ACL injury, and they just gave him a 1-year contract extension. And even outside of Christian Watson, you have Romeo Doubs, who's a very good route runner, has consistent hands. Matthew Golden, who you selected in the first round. He's been able to go out there and create a lot of separation already through 2 weeks. And Jordan Love missed him on a huge pass deep down the field in the Washington Commanders matchup. He hits that throw, that may go for a 60-yard touchdown. He has that game-breaking ability. He has the ability to be the best wide receiver on this roster, to be that go-to guy in crucial situations. You have Jaden Reed, who's also a very good player, smooth route runner, has excellent hands. And you have Dontavian Wicks. And now Savion Williams, he's coming on very strong. He had a beautiful play in this matchup against the Washington Commanders. And you have Malik Heath. He came in on the sideline, a crazy catch. At first glance, the referee said that, hey, this is not a catch here, but he got 2 feet in bounds. It is hard to go out there and basically play different type of zone and man coverage when you have so many weapons, because they give you different looks every single time you're on the field. And they'll go back to that dominant rushing attack. It was a blessing in disguise that Jordan Love got injured last year. And I don't root for any player to get injured. But the reason why I say that, it changed the game plan for Coach LaFleur. You're not going to have Malik Willis go out there and throw the football 25 to 30 times in the matchup like Jordan Love can. He's not on the same level as a passer, but he's a damn good athlete. So you mix in a brand new system with Malik Willis and his legs, and the same with Josh Jacobs, and you become this run-heavy team while Jordan Love is out. And when Jordan Love is back into the lineup last year, you still depend on that run game to get you out of some of those tricky situations. Part of the reason why this organization lost to the Philadelphia Eagles last year, the pass rush was very inconsistent. They could not win the point of attack, and the wide receivers were not good enough, and they were dealing with a lot of injuries in that matchup against Philly. You give them another year to fully develop. You let Jordan Love be fully healthy, and that's the biggest thing here. If he can stay fully healthy for the entire year, this is going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL, passing-wise and rushing-wise. We know what Josh Jacobs can do on a yearly basis and most definitely on a weekly basis. This man has had a touchdown over the last 10 games. One of the best streaks in the NFL currently. You have Tucker Kraft at the tight end position. He's also an excellent target that you can go to over and over again on second and third down. And the pinpoint accuracy with Jordan Love inside and outside the pocket is just great to see right now. This is a red-hot football team. And from tackle to tackle of this offensive line, you have win against Aiden Hutchinson. You win against a tough defensive front in the Washington Commanders. What is Dan Quinn known for doing? Putting a lot of heat on the opposing quarterback. That's why they give up a lot of splash plays on the ground. That's the Dan Quinn way. Even back to his time with the Atlanta Falcons when he was the head coach, he would heat up the quarterback. He was rarely getting touched in tonight's matchup by the Commanders because of this offensive line. This organization has drafted very well, and they've made the right moves in free agency. Brian Gutekunst has been very effective in the front office by trading up and selecting Jordan Love, by going out into free agency and getting Josh Jacobs, and also by bringing in Xavier McKinney. The Green Bay Packers, historically, they're known for going out there and drafting talent. They don't always go out there in free agency and bring in the best names over and over again. They draft and they develop their talent. But over the last few years, we've seen them get aggressive by bringing in names like I mentioned before and also adding in Micah Parsons. So changing your identity and bringing in a brand new philosophy in the front office has helped everyone throughout this entire building. Far as the defense here, they look amazing. You go back a few years ago, you had Joe Barry as your DC. He was completely terrible. Joe Barry was a horrible defensive coordinator, and it's stunning the growth for a lot of defensive players on the defensive line. Even dating back to last year, Jeff Hafley was a very good DC, but he depended so much on his secondary with Xavier McKinney. The same with Keyshawn Nixon, Jair Alexander, who was in and out of the lineup dealing with multiple injuries over the last 2 years. You move on from Jair Alexander. And now you see Keyshawn Nixon become this number one cornerback, and you bring in Nate Hobbs, who has been a very good player in the past for the Las Vegas Raiders. But Jeff Hafley, if he continues to coach up this defense this way, he will be a head coach one day in the NFL. I fully trust it. But adding in Micah Parsons, and I said this when they first made the trade, it's an excellent move. Forget the first round picks here. It's going back to what the Los Angeles Rams did many years ago when they loaded up that team. All it takes is one Super Bowl. Those first round picks don't matter as much, especially when you can draft like the Green Bay Packers can. They've hit on a lot of second, third, fourth, and fifth round picks. And they still have those picks moving forward. Yes, you traded 2 first-round picks to bring in Micah Parsons, and you paid him a massive contract, but you're not paying anyone else massive money besides Xavier McKinney, and he's a safety. He's not making a lot of money compared to other impactful players in the NFL at the quarterback position. So that's not going to hurt you long term. You're paying a top edge rusher, and you're paying a top quarterback. Your wide receivers by committee, and they're so young. A lot of teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, they're paying Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, top dollar, and the same with T. Higgins. That's why Trey Hendrickson is on that 1-year deal. They don't have enough cap space to go out there and fully build their team. So when you draft young talent and you develop them in certain areas of your team, you can get away with making moves like this. And I love to see Micah Parsons go out there and have these dominant games against the Washington Commanders and the same against the Detroit Lions. Because you have Jerry Jones saying we're going to be a better team long term without Micah Parsons. We'll see. Because if you can't hit on those first round picks, this is one of the dumbest trades in Dallas Cowboys history. And once again, I'm not trying to overreact because we're only 2 weeks into the season here. But the impact that Micah Parsons has had is already being felt. Lucas Van Ness, he's getting a lot of one-on-one opportunities now. He had a phenomenal game against the Detroit Lions in week 1. Devontae Wyatt was their best defensive tackle last year playing alongside Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark was a regressing defensive tackle. You have him, you have Kobe Wooden. Now I'm going to say this. It's going to be very interesting to see how consistent the defensive tackle position can be outside Devontae Wyatt. I still have a lot of question marks about Kobe Wooden and the same with Carl Brooks, but so far they look very good. You have Rashawn Gary, who has been an excellent pass rusher. He's going to get better because teams are going to focus in on Micah Parsons. He's in that same category with top edge rushers like TJ Watt, the same with Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. You just can't leave them in one-on-one situations. Look at what happened last week against Penei Sewell. They left him one-on-one. That's one of the best tackles in the game. He was constantly getting to Jared Goff when he was in the matchup. Josh Connerly, a rookie, he was matched one-on-one tonight with Micah Parsons, holding penalty. He was giving him a lot of problems over and over again. They moved Micah Parsons around, something that the Dallas Cowboys struggle to do on a year-in and year-out basis, even from week to week. They move him around to the opposite side. Laramie Thompson, one of the best left tackles in the game. Micah Parsons, he's getting to Jaden Daniels. He feels that pressure. He has to get rid of the football. You have a consistent pass rush across the edge now. So this whole defensive front is going to be better long-term because of Micah Parsons. The linebacker position, Edgerrin Cooper is a very good player. He's very underrated. Isaiah McDuffie and the same with Quay Walker. And they've invested a lot of first-round picks in this front seven and a lot of draft picks in general. They didn't just go out there in free agency and just bring in a couple big-time names. This goes back to that conversation with Brian Gutekunst having an eye for talent. And eventually you're going to hit on those first-round picks. But Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, and Micah Parsons, they're one of the best pass rushing combos in football right now. One of the best pass rushing units in football right now. I like what they're doing up front. As far as the back end, Keyshawn Nixon, you give him more reps, he's going to continue to get better. The same with Carrington Valentine and Jonathan Bullard, who is just an aggressive player in the secondary who can play the run very well, is very good in pass defense. And Xavier McKinney was a top safety last year in terms of interceptions and just takeaways in general. Was a phenomenal player with the New York Giants, but comes over with the Green Bay Packers and has a career year last year. All the Packers have to do is stay healthy. That's what it comes down to. And with how this offensive line is built right now, they're going to do a phenomenal job of taking care of Jordan Love. We know that Coach LaFleur can coach his butt off. He's in the conversation with some of the best head coaches in football right now, in my opinion. And Jeff Hafley, phenomenal defensive mind. That's why you brought him over from Boston College. And even at the college level, he was a very good defensive mind when he was a head coach in Boston. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Green Bay Packers moving forward? And do you have them being the best team in their division right now? And this division is still tough. You have the Lions, you have the Vikings with JJ. We'll see how he looks long term. And you have Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams. Now, one more note about the rushing defense here. The Washington Commanders, one of the best rushing teams in football. Look what they did last week against the New York Giants. Look what they did last year with Jaden Daniels. 51 rushing yards in a matchup, Thursday Night Football. The Detroit Lions, they held them to 46 rushing yards as a team, and they put that extra pressure on Jared Goff. Dave Montgomery, one of the best power backs in the game, 11 carries, 25 rushing yards, 2.3 yards a carry. Jameer Gibbs, one of the most explosive backs in football, 9 carries, 19 rushing yards. And the versatility that they have up front to keep a quarterback in check. Jaden Daniels, who will kill you with his legs week in and week out. Jaden Daniels had 7 carries for 17 rushing yards in this Thursday Night Football recap. The rookie, Bill Krosky Merritt, very good player. Had a huge run last week against the New York Giants. 4 carries, 17 rushing yards. And Jaden Daniels, 24-42, 200 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. And one of those touchdowns came in garbage time. They stopped the run. They could pin their ears back and they can get to the passer. It's that old school Packers football. This is a complete football team now, similar to the Philadelphia Eagles. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.